Okay.
Ready?
It's
1, 2, 3, sober. Hi everybody, we are the Babes of Bourbon. I am Megan Rudder.
I am Eric Rudder.
We are super excited today. I always start the video saying we're super excited, but this time it's true. We are going to be reviewing the Discovery Series 4 from Bardstown.
Yes, which is a blend of 3 different Kentucky bourbons, which are like 13, 15, and 10 years old. If you watched our last Bardstown video, this one is slightly different than the Discovery 3, because that one had some MGP juice distillate.
Which
in
I
it.
do think we are going to have to maybe do a specific either MGP video or MGP series.
Yes.
Just to get into it a lot, because a lot of bourbon distilleries or whiskey distilleries who source their liquor use MGP, which we're a big fan of, honestly.
Yes, even their house brands. I recently
pretty good.
picked up a bottle of Remus.
Shout out to my brother.
I didn't pick it up.
We didn't pick it up. He gifted it to
Yes.
us. And for that, we love him dearly.
It is delicious. We'll have to do a review of that one for sure.
We definitely will. But this specific bottle does not have any MGP in it. It's other locally sourced Kentucky bourbons and whiskeys possibly, because I know there is like a high rye content in some of them. If you do happen to buy this bottle, Bardstown is pretty amazing with putting on what percentage of what kind of mash bill right on the side of their bottle, which I really appreciate because I find that interesting.
And just to confirm, it is bourbon, 100%. These are all bourbons
Thank
in
you.
here. Yes. It's no whiskey. So, just, yeah.
And what makes a whiskey a bourbon is has to do with the content of grains that are within it. So,
Yeah.
I think we went over that many, many moons ago, which we can always go over again sometime.
Yes.
Today's not that time, guys, because we're here to review the Discovery Series 4.
Yes.
If you watched our prior Bardstown video, which the link will be to in the description, you put it in?
Yes. Yep.
We go into more of the company, more about their product, just in general, the distillery. We really admire this distillery quite a bit because we think they do a very good job on their website, their marketing. Just their bourbon is amazing in general, and the master blenders are phenomenal.
Yeah.
So if you haven't had a Bardstown product, highly recommend it.
And I like how open they are and honest about everything they're putting into the bottle. So, it's
Yeah.
right on the label. It's awesome.
And I think that's one of their company objectives or mottos is to be very clear with what they're doing. It's not a secret.
Yep.
It's almost like a challenge.
Yeah. They don't have all the history behind them, so they're being very upfront, honest, exactly what they're doing, which is awesome to see.
It's kind of like, you see what we're doing, try to replicate it. Bet you can't. Which is true because Bardstown makes amazing products. Their series, so the video we did with Bardstown, that was all Series 3.
Yes.
And Series 4 was just released
Yes.
to Wisconsin.
Yes, to Wisconsin as well. It came out in December to like all the other states, but now they are also distributing all their bourbons to Wisconsin, which is amazing to see. And super excited.
Yes. And shout out to Eric's parents. They went and bourbon hunted this one down for us, which we greatly appreciate. So thank you.
Yes. And I think it was $130.
Yep.
Yes.
So MSRP is, like Eric just said, $130. I'd be cautious about spending too much more than that because at least within the past few days, we have seen this bottle at a few places.
Yes. And I think it'll be limited, but it'll keep coming in most likely. It'll be hard to find, but it will be findable.
But not impossible. That's
Correct.
a great way to put it. It's findable. You just have to get out there and search.
Yes.
But the Discovery Fusion 4, which we did not buy this go around because this bottle is $130. That one you can get for about $50. So if $130 is just way too much, I would still recommend the Fusion series.
Yes.
I think they're amazing. All of Bardstown I've been highly impressed with, so I'm really excited about this pour.
We have sampled a little of this one, but I'm excited to
Don't look at the bottle contents.
taste it and see how it compares to that Discovery 3, which was a real punch in your mouth of that MGP rye that was really coming through on it, in my opinion. That was like red hot.
delicious.
Yes.
Like Red Hot the candy.
Mm-hmm.
Very cinnamony.
Yes.
And it was really good, so I'm very excited, like you said, to try this one as well.
Yep. Should we get going?
Yes, please. The moment you have all been waiting for our review. Right off the bat, it's a very pleasant nose.
I'm getting caramel, butterscotch.
I'm not sure if I'm accurate at all. I'm getting like the tiniest like floral on the back end of the caramel. Like just a little bit. I'm getting like the big caramel notes, the big oak notes like normal. Yeah. And then I feel like I'm getting baking spices. And if you've watched our videos, baking spices is my way of saying I don't really know what spices all smell like. I know there's something.
Yeah, like cinnamon, allspice,
maybe some
clove, nutmeg. Yeah. Yep, all those. And I totally agree. There is definitely
the spices you would put in a pumpkin pie.
Yep, nice baking spices in here.
Fun fact about me, guys, which I know that's what you're all here for, is like sniffing spices actually like gives me migraines. Yeah, I don't know if you know that either. So that's why, like, when I'm like smelling bourbon, never does that. I love like the scent of something when it's baking in a dish, but I can't like sit there and actually like smell the spices because that can trigger migraines. So that's my excuse for also not knowing the different scents of the baking spices. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. But I think if I had to make a guess, a little nutmeg, a little cinnamon. It smells really nice.
Yeah, delicious.
And then looking at the appearance too, I don't always do this, but I want to call it out. The color is really beautiful. It's very amber. It's kind of, it reminds me of the first Jurassic Park movie ever made. You know what I'm talking about? Where like the mosquito, I think, is like in the amber sphere of his like rod. Like this is the color that it reminds me of, which I think is very beautiful.
Yep, what's that aging process? Because these are older bourbons, that aging process is going to bring in that nice golden amberish color.
Very beautiful. Shall we take a sip?
Absolutely. I mean, I could sniff this one all day.
I'd rather drink.
I'm ready to drink it.
But it does have a good nose. Wow.
Yes. I'm getting those baking spices right off the bat.
Let me take another sip. I always like to take 2 sips so I can like fully get it all over my palate. That's really good.
Yeah, there's a lot of flavors in this. I'm getting caramel again and a little bit of a nice oaky finish to it as well.
I giggled there because I forget what it's from, but there's a show where they're like, oh, that's a really good oaky afterbirth. And that's what I was playing in my head. It's like a flavor bomb. The first sip and the second sip, I almost feel like they had 2 completely different flavor profiles in an amazing way. I think this bourbon is probably one of the most complex I've ever tried with the flavor profile. I'm getting caramel. I'm getting like the heat of like a cinnamon or a red hot, but that's like way more subtle than the past series. When I take a sip, it like starts in the center of my tongue and the heat kind of spreads. And the finish also, like the warmth spreads through my chest, but not in a negative way. It's a very like positive, warm, a warm Kentucky hug.
Yes. Yeah, each sip I'm getting something a little bit different here.
It's like really yummy.
Megan said it's complex. I'm getting those spices, that caramel, that oakiness, possibly a little chocolate I'm getting, like a little dark chocolate.
I don't know now that I've like sipped it, but I'm getting a little like dried fruit, like a fig or a date, and I'm not sure which flavor. But that's like coming in the flavor for me.
I don't eat many of those. As you all know, I'm not like a...
He's picky.
If you've watched our other videos, I'm picky.
He's super picky.
But yes, I do get like a little bit of a fruit flavor in here, like a dried fruit, like raisin-ish.
Yeah, like
not plum, no, but probably raisin.
Like a raisin, a fig, or a date. One of those like dried fruits that are brown when they're dried. if that makes sense. But this is really delicious. If you're paying $130 for a bottle, which the MSRP is, I think I said this for Woodford's Very Fine Rare Bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I expect
Yes.
for the price. I think Bardstown did a phenomenal job with creating an absolutely delicious product that I am not upset that I paid the money I did for it, which I think sometimes distilleries and bourbon miss the mark on that.
Mm-hmm.
Bardstown did not. They hit it right on the head.
Yep, they make a nice looking bottle, and they follow up with that with the bourbon they're putting inside it, which is great to see.
Mm-hmm.
I love the bottle shape, and there's a nice corn finish on the back here.
The design.
Yeah.
Oh, and mention the cork.
Yeah. Oh, so the
It's actually cork.
Bardstown Fusion had that we got had a plastic corkish, and it was
so hard to open.
yeah. So I spent a minute trying to get it open. I was pulling it. I'm hopefully I don't drop the bottle. This one has a cork,
Not the case.
very easily open.
And the topper's heavy. I know that's just silly, but it's kind of Whistle Pig does a really good job of this with their more expensive products too. It feels, the topper feels nice in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
it's so subtle.
Yes.
I don't necessarily want my money going into a bottle, but at the same time, if I'm spending $130, I do want a little bit of the bottle to be
Yes.
pretty. And it is.
Absolutely.
But back to the flavor. What do you think of the finish?
I love the finish.
Yeah, I do too.
It's subtle. It doesn't like that. Discovery 3 really hit me hard. It was like a red hot burn almost in the back of my throat. This one is subtle, getting those nice notes just continuing on.
I would agree with that. It's I feel like you mentioned this to me the other night when we tried it, and I'm experiencing it right now. It's when you sip it, the heat continues through, but again, in a very pleasant way, especially if you drink higher proof bourbons. But it almost has the finish of wine a little bit, where your tongue feels slightly dry.
Yep.
Which I really like because I'm a big wine drinker as well as a big bourbon drinker.
Yeah, that was my one complaint about this, is the tannins of the oak.
That's
It's
your
drying out
complaint.
my tongue a little.
And I'm I actually like this because it reminds me of drinking my wine. That's so funny. So it's the opposite of whatever an oily mouthfeel is. This one is the direct opposite, which
Yeah, it's
for me
oily
is
up.
really nice.
Yeah, sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off at all.
Oh,
it's
it's okay.
oily up front a little
How
bit.
dare
Yes.
you?
And then in the back, it does dry out the back of your mouth, like a dry wine, or a dry red wine would.
Yeah. Honestly, this is probably one of the best bourbons that we have drank so far on the channel. I would put it right up there with the Woodford Very Fine Rare Bourbon.
Yep.
Which is awesome because Woodford's Very Fine Rare Bourbon is a bottle that's also $130. And so to know that Bardstown is comparable, however you want to pronounce that word,
Yep.
with other established distilleries, I think it speaks very highly for the product. I'm excited to see what they continue to do throughout their time.
So I think we sort of answered this, that it's worth the hype.
It is worth the hype, guys. You see it, you buy it. If you don't drink bourbon, you're like, man, will my wife like this? Because she's the bourbon drinker and I'm the wine drinker. Because we don't have labels here, folks.
Yeah.
Or if your husband is the bourbon drinker, whatever, and you need something that's a nice gesture for a nice gift, highly recommend.
Yes, absolutely. Should we get into our final scoring?
We should.
All
Nose. Hit me.
Nose. I'm just comparing this to the Woodford Very Fine Rare. That nose was definitely a 2 out of 2. This one is just slightly behind that. It's a very, very, very nice nose.
Very nice.
I'm going to give it
Very nice nose.
a 1.5.
I'm going to agree with Eric on this, folks. I think the nose is a 1.5 out of 2 on our rating scale. I think it's really nice. But I think that the standout for me really is the taste and the finish.
Absolutely.
Nothing against the nose, just not quite a standout for us.
Yes.
For taste, out of 3 points, I am personally going to give this one a 2.5. I think it is excellent. I think it is delicious, complex. All the adjectives we have really overused in past discussions about this bottle amongst ourselves.
I am going to give it a perfect score here, 3 out of 3. I really love the initial taste and all, like Megan just said, the complexity of this bottle. Yeah. Every sip I'm getting something slightly different, which is exactly what I'd want from a $130 bottle. The Woodford Very Fine Rare, it sort of stays consistent and you get it sip after sip. It's the same thing, which I enjoy too, but this you get those different
it's something
layers.
Different on every sip.
Yep.
That's a good way to describe
awesome.
it. Different layers.
Yes. Finish.
Out of 2, I think I'm going to give it the full 2 points. I really enjoy the finish. I like the little bit of dryness that is left at my mouth at the very end. Because that's something that I enjoy as a wine drinker. I really like the warmth that comes through. I like that like after you take a sip, you can tell that you just took a sip of bourbon for like 30 seconds to a minute. I personally really like a long finish if I'm drinking bourbon neat. So giving it the full 2 points out of 2.
I'm going to make math hard on myself here. I'm going to give it a 1.75. Every reason Megan just said, except the dryness is a little bit of a negative to me, because if I was trying to sip this a couple glasses, it might become a little more difficult, but I will definitely drink 1 glass of this every night happily until it's gone. Don't worry, I won't drink it every night.
Like, this is not an everyday sipper. This is out of the price point of an everyday sipper. This is special, okay?
Absolutely it is.
It's very delicious and special. Pricing and availability. So out of 3 points, I am going to give this a 2 out of 3 because I do think the pricing is competitive. With other distilleries, I think it is priced correctly. It hasn't been super readily available, obviously, in our state, as it was just released in the past week. But I do believe that it's more available than some other bourbons that are hard to find. For example, if you want to throw Bland's out there, when are you ever going to find Bland's just sitting at the store?
Yeah.
You're never going to find it. This you can find.
And if I was looking at spending $130 on a bottle of this or a bottle of Blanton's on secondary market, I would buy this every single day.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%.
It's really fantastic.
For my price, $130 is obviously a lot of money.
Yes, it
to
is.
spend on a bottle of bourbon.
Yes, it
especially
is.
When you can get a lot of good things for that $50 to $60 price tag. I am going to give it, again, a 2 out of 3 for that reason.
Very nice. Well, I know my math was an 8 out of 10 because I was keeping track.
I am at 8.25 out of 10.
Ooh. I think that is pretty accurate.
Yes.
For the two of us, we usually agree on what is good quality and what isn't, and what's tasty and what isn't.
I think for both of us, this one, obviously we'd have to do a blind taste to see exactly which one's the winner, but I think for both of us, scoring-wise, this one is the winner between Discovery 4 and Discovery number 3.
I thought you were going to say a Very Fine Rare Bourbon for a second from Woodford, and I was like, what? I think they're tied. I would agree. I think I really did like the Discovery 3 series. I really like Red Hots or Hot Tamales, the candies. So I enjoyed that. I think the Series 4 is even more of an improvement in an already great product.
Yes, but with that being said, if you love that red hot finish, that nice MGP spice, you're going to prefer Discovery number 3 over 4. This is a much more subtle bourbon that you're going to be going back and tasting those differences.
It's like this one has a huge punch of flavor, but it's not necessarily one like specific call out flavor. Like the Discovery 3 is like, it's a red hot, it's cinnamon. This one, it is way harder to pinpoint what the flavors actually are because you're constantly getting bursts.
Absolutely.
You agree?
Yes.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We've really enjoyed having you here with us, as always. Thank you so much for watching and supporting us. Check us out on Instagram at The Babes of Bourbon.
Yes.
Like, comment, subscribe, share, all those things that people on YouTube and social media ask you to do.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, and I hope you all have a great night.
Thank you. Have a great night. Bye.
Bye.